Oh, okay. So there's some things about deck building that after a few games in PvP, um, I've actually noticed that I really wanted to go over and cover. Some very, very important things. So, as everyone knows, there's and I'm going to use this deck here to highlight it. I'm going to be going through and updating each of these decks. Um, I will put up a video later that just kind of runs through how I what cards I put through in each deck to update them. I'm going to talk about the reason why I'm updating all these decks right now. But so everyone knows that you have three attributes, and basically this attribute's more for your carries and your fighters. This one's more for your tanks and your supports, and this one's for your mages and supports. So you know that that's basically what they're for. Now, you could certainly be a support that's building agility or a carry that's building intellect. That's something you could possibly do because there are some nice, really, really nice cards for that. However, here's the problem that um, I ran into, or the thing I noticed, anyways. Yeah, this was the deck. So in here I have this is a deck for carries. Now, as a carry, I definitely want to be building agility. I have all these gems slotted to agility. I did put one in vitality and one in intellect, but that's only 1 point I need. I don't need to build a ton of that to get those gems. I just need to build one. It gives me the little bump from the attribute point, and then it gives me the gem, and then I'm free to build agility as much as I want. Now for the cards, I need 4 vitality here, and then I needed a bunch of mana here, or intellect, excuse me. Now the problem with that I was facing is I have Cryo Agent and Apex Predator in. Now, using both of those on at once forces me to build a lot more intellect than I wanted to build. There's a certain point where I wanted to stop building intellect. I mean, I don't want more than 5. That's a ridiculous amount. But down here, I needed 3 more. That's 8. On top of the fact that I had to build 4 points into vitality, that's 12 points, which is 12,000 gold that I'm taking away from the agility stat. Now, something that I think is a good idea to do is only build one. You're going to have your major stat, whatever you want that to be, or your major attribute, whatever you want that to be, and then only build one side attribute, mainly. If you build both attributes, don't make it like more than 1 card of each, and try and keep it smaller numbers. Really kind of because that was it too. I needed I forgot I needed 2 vitality here as well, so it's actually 14,000 gold that I'm taking away. Well, no. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. This one here too. Now I do put in a lot of agility, but it takes forever to get these cards. And everything. It's just the pack leader had took intellect 2, but it's a card that I use early and then swap out, so I get that intellect back, and I can use it for one of these. But there's just a ton of attribute building other than um, the agility that I wanted for carries. Now, this deck does work. It just takes a lot longer and a lot more attributes. I have some more straightforward, just agility decks, but it's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're struggling. Now, if there's a card like Apex Predator that you just love, you could slot that in and take away, 7 attribute points, and you're going to be fine. You'll build, a little bit of health, a little bit of, a pretty good amount of mana and mana regen. So that helps, especially if you're like a Twin Blast or a Grimex, who are going to be using your abilities a lot. It's not going to hurt you to have that mana regen, and health is never a bad option. So those do help, and then you can start slotting in other cards that don't need it, that maybe take gold or only take that agility attribute. Now, same goes for any position. If you're going to be a mage, you're not going to be building a ton of agility. I mean, maybe you are, maybe that's your play style, but for the most part, you're going to build more intellect. So just bear in mind that when you're building. Now, I actually used Cryo Agent a bit more, and I found that it's not really optimal on a carry, because it's after using an ability. Your next basic attack will deal damage and apply a slow, which is alright. If I was just going to have that, I kind of have to choose in this deck. Do I want the Cryo Agent or the Apex Predator? Because having both, just like I said, takes away too much. And then Cryo Agent didn't feel as impactful on a carry. But being able to, being able to have that slow, it might have been a little bit more impactful had I not had Trapper. So if I was going for a carry build that didn't have growth in it, Cryo Agent would probably see more use. But just some things to note. Since there's a slow here, that ability damage in an area, it was nice to have, but it's not essential. So like I said, I'll be reworking the decks. It's not anything major. The decks do work. They're just, like everything, this is new. The whole thing hasn't even been out a week. So there's obviously going to be changes, trial and error, find what works. But yeah, just bear in mind, you're going to have a main attribute. Try and keep the number of attributes that your cards use up that isn't your main attribute small. I'm going to choose one more random. Let's see. This one here. So different, having to press triangle. So let's see what cards I chose. Now, I did kind of try and keep that in mind for the most part, but Call of the Week takes a single attribute of agility. So I put in an agility token for that first attribute point. Now for for devastation, let's look at devastation over here. I don't even know where it's at. Finder of Playthings, Guard Piercer. There it is. So it cost 1 agility point and 1 vitality point as well. So that was my early game card. Get 7 power, gain 3 power when an enemy structure is destroyed. Slap that on early, and anytime an enemy tower is destroyed, I'm gaining more power. It was really good for this mage deck, getting that attack early, trying to really help rotate and push those lanes. So the bulk of this deck, though, is vitality and intellect. Now, I called it a mid-mage heavy attack deck because there's a lot of power in these cards, as you can see. Even though I built not agility, the thing is, agility doesn't give you power. All it gives you is defense and attack speed. Now, that's very critical for attackers, but what you have to realize is maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're okay with being a little bit slower shooting or swinging, and you're okay with not having so much defense, and you want to build some other attributes. You don't have to build the agility tree just because you want to be an attacker. I've got plenty of power in these cards that I've built. I've got the Grinning Spectre, which just straight out kills things. I've got Finder of Playthings, which has power in it, and then reduces the attack speed of a target and the move speed, and lets me know where everybody's at. Everyone. Invader Mage, which gives me penetration for my abilities and power. So I'm getting a lot of power, as you can see, and I'm not building the agility stat. And that's one good thing about this new system is I can build whatever stat, whatever attribute I want, and I'm pretty much locked into just a couple standard gems. You know, there's a little bit of variety, you know, in the gems. So you can heal versus apply burn, or you can amplify versus using up more mana to you can amplify you can amplify the damage your teammates do, or you can amplify the damage you do at a cost. So, you know, there's all that nice stuff that's there for you, but it's very limited as of right now, your options. But the options are, you know, they're supposed to open up with the cards, and they really do. You don't have to build just one thing to get an optimal build. You can build any way you want. If you like a card, you know, I could build this and be I don't know. There's just so many options. Just if I like a card, I can build whatever stat I want, attribute I want, just put a little bit of attribute in that one card and be perfectly fine. Or I can build a lot of attribute in that card and play totally different than people expect you to play. So I love it. Still advocating heavily for the new card system, but just a couple of things I wanted to go over. So yeah, I'll do detail, or I'm not really going to detail, I'm just going to flip through each one once I'm finished them, and then just kind of go over the cards and let you just see how they're different from how each deck has evolved now that I know a little bit more. So yeah, if there's anything you want to know, any comments, questions, concerns, or anything like that, please feel free to leave me a message. Also subscribe, turn on the little notifications so you know when I've added new videos, because I'm going to be adding a ton all the time, and then throw me a like. Thanks.